What is up, the Lions fans? It's your boy Motor City Don P. We are back here once again. It is Monday. You know what that means. That means it is time for you and me to connect on LNU. Shout out to everybody in the LNU fam. Shout out Herm. Shout out Big Perm. You know what I mean? Shout out Easy. Shout out Spinmo. Shout out Chris. Shout out everybody in the chat. In the fam. Kurt Steele, Dan. You know what it is. Now, Chicken Nugget King. You know what I'm saying. But aside from all of that, aside from all those people that I just mentioned, you know when you see me in front of your TV. That one thing is for certain and three things are for sure. Number one, the Motor City Cats are indeed back at it. Number two, we came to give you stats, not none of that static. And number three, perhaps the most important number of them all, number three, we want to make sure you keep your Lions news pragmatic. And you may be asking yourself, how, Don, does one keep their Lions news pragmatic? Well, it's very, very simple. I'm glad you asked. It's a three-step process. Subscribe. Smash like button, share, subscribe, smash like button, share, subscribe. Whatever order you do it in, that is the order that we need you to do it in. And once you've done it, you've kept your Lions news pragmatic. And once you've shared with all of your loved ones and your colleagues and your cousins, your uncles, your aunties, your grands, your steps, your halves, you've indeed cared about those people because sharing is indeed caring. Let's get into it. We got to talk about some ish. Yes. So shout out to the Lion King. Okay. He says to me, right? And I'm not going to call the Lion King a capologist because he's not a capologist. I just think he's misinformed. Okay. Let's see what he says to me right here. He says, yes, if you remember weeks ago, I said a superhero edge coming. You probably don't remember, but it was number 11. Believe you played me off saying no superhero was available. You don't know who I know. Lion King, that didn't happen. That wasn't me. Okay. That was somebody else. Okay. That was someone else. I didn't tell you that there was no superhero available and that there was no superhero coming. I have been on the train. I have been on the plane. I have been in the game. I've been saying the thing. Brad Holmes needed to get somebody up in here. Now, I did not need Brad Holmes to get Micah Parsons up in here. But there are rumors that the Detroit Lions were indeed in talks. Now, we know that Brad Holmes picks up the phone for everybody. He picked up the phone for Myles Garrett. He picked up the phone for Max Crosby. He picked up the phone for Trey Hendrickson. If today we hear a rumor that he picked up the phone for TJ Watt, right? If today we hear a rumor that let's see, he picked up the phone for Danielle Hunter. Okay. If today we hear a rumor that who is it? I don't know, anybody, premier pass rusher, Nick Bosa. All right, Nick Bosa is available. He's got to pick up the phone. Okay, but that's not strange that he picked up the phone. What up, though, Shift? What up, though, Pierce Sargent? Now, I'm going to get to y'all's comments in a minute. Here's the thing. I never said we needed a superhero. I can't be your Superman. You're Superman. You're Superman. I can't be. Anyway, if you know, use the hashtag. I never said we needed a superhero. We didn't need Myles Garrett. We didn't need Trey Hendrickson. We didn't need TJ Watt. We didn't need Micah Parsons. We wanted them because we need someone on the other side of Hutch. Don't give me Marcus Davenport. Don't give me Marcus Davenport until Marcus Davenport gives me 17 games. Until Marcus Davenport gives you 17 games. Until Marcus Davenport gives us 17 games. until Marcus Davenport gives the Detroit Lions 17 games. The organization, the fans, until he gives us all 17 games, I don't want to hear about Marcus Davenport. Hell, I'll do you one better. Pierce says I'd take 12. I'll do this. His career high is 15. Give me 15, dog. Give me 15. I'll take it. But 2, which is what we got from him last season, my man. Okay, get my Dave Chappelle. My man has played 6 games in the last 3 years. But that is none of my business. He's played 6 games in the last 3 years. So all of this that they have, this confidence that Marcus Davenport he's working on his durability and he's going to be available. I got to see it, bro. I got to see it. But I digress. We didn't need any of these people. But I'm going to tell you what. I'm going to tell you a fun fact that I learned from watching the Green Light podcast. And I'm going to ask you guys to tell me this. Oh, don't Google it. I mean, you can Google it, but that takes away the fun. Who was the Green Bay Packers' last double-digit edge rusher? Who was the Green Bay Packers' last double-digit edge rusher? The last time. Micah Parsons gets 12 sacks every year. Okay? He's never had less than 12. Even missing 4 games last season, he had 13 sacks. Who was the Green Bay Packers' last double-digit edge rusher? I'm gonna let y'all, put it in the chat. See what y'all say. All right. Pierce Sargent says the answer is Big Z. Man. That is the correct answer. In 2020, when Big Z played for Big Green, or whatever the hell you want to call him, Big Cheese, he had double-digit sacks. And that is the guy that I've been clamoring for the entire offseason. I've been clamoring for him for the entire offseason because why did they cut him? Why? You wanted to save a few dollars? Well, guess what? The price of the brick done went up. Hashtag if you know, you know. Use the hashtag. Micah Parsons is getting paid $47 million per year by the Green Bay Packers. Per year, per annum, annually. What y'all think Aiden Hutchinson is about to get paid? $50? Let me get to some of y'all comments before I move on to more of this speculatory piece. All right. They gave Grant the captain nod over Jack. Interesting. Grant Stewart? That's crazy. For what? He said, we stuck with Davenport, brother. Don't get me started on Davenport. Nick Bosa won't sit well with too many Lion fans due to his political beliefs. I feel you, but I'm just throwing a name out there. I just had to get one out. Need better than 21 games played the last 3 years. Yes. Clown is still out there. Facts. He could come on in. Okay, 21 games the last. So it was 6 games the last 2 years. My bad. Big Z's still out there. We keep signing these nobodies for sure. We signed who's it? Andre Carter to the practice squad. Tyrus the Virus Wheat Tyus Lacey. Yeah. Davenport will shock the world. Let's hope so. The roar of 24. I shook up the world. I'm a bad man. I'm a bad man. You know it's bad when Andre Carter II drawing James Houston comps. Hey, bro. If he's drawing James Houston comps, that means he's not going to come on until the second half of the season. What up, though, Lisa? Let's see. He shouldn't have been cut. That's right. We don't know why. Gut says Hutch gets 42. I hope he gets 42. I hope he gets 42, bro. That would be awesome. Grant could be special teams captain. I think he just he got the captaincy and maybe Jack Campbell didn't, that's crazy. Crazy Clown, what up, though? He says 28 years old is the key. Lisa comes in. She says, if Davenport plays all year, it will shock me. Other than that, I will not be surprised. Yeah, he's got to do it. He's got to do it. All right. So, we know here we got some reactions. Okay. Cam Newton said that the Detroit Lions are still the Detroit Lions, and the Green Bay Packers are not better than the Detroit Lions. The Green Bay Packers, I think it was Dan Orlovsky who was saying that the Green Bay Packers are Super Bowl contenders now. And Cam Newton basically was saying they might be contenders in their division. Listen, for anyone who's freaking out about the Green Bay situation, now I don't want to poo-poo the team because they're a team in our division. The Green Bay Packers went 1-5 in the division last season. They almost went 0-6. They played a very bad Chicago Bears team with a very bad coach who couldn't manage games at the end. I think it went to overtime. And Caleb Williams did what Caleb Williams does. And I think he put them in like behind the 8 ball with some huge sack that he took on 3rd down or something like this. But without the ineptitude of those two figures, the Green Bay Packers are 0-6 in the division last season. They got Matthew Golden in the first round. Was anyone like did we care? They got Matthew Golden. Okay, cool. No one thought that the Green Bay Packers were serious except for the national media. Now the national media has a battle cry. They have a rallying cry in Micah Parsons. I don't want to discount Micah's impact. But the unique thing about the Detroit Lions and Micah Parsons is that the Detroit Lions have had it's almost been like Tom Brady and Peyton Manning. Remember how they were always playing each other inexplicably? We couldn't understand why they're playing each other. Peyton Manning was in the AFC South. Tom Brady was in the AFC East. They played each other every year. Why? Why were they constantly playing with each other? Pause. Pause. Why were they constantly playing each other? Because the NFL kept pitting them against each other because it was good for business. The Detroit Lions have this similar situation with the Seattle Seahawks, I almost called them the Supersonics, and ironically, the Dallas Cowboys. In recent years, we played the Dallas Cowboys like 3 times in the last 6 seasons. Why? I don't know. Okay. Micah Parsons played in those games except for the last one when we shellacked them. The Green Bay Packers are still going to be a good team. They're still going to be formidable because they are in our division, and you cannot sleep on a divisional opponent. But guys, Micah Parsons doesn't guarantee them any wins. In Dan Campbell's press conference today, they were asking him about what his plan was for Micah Parsons. I'm going to tell you what Dan Campbell said. Okay. Yeah, we started game planning, but we haven't even gotten the 3rd down yet. But we'll have a plan. He said, we haven't gotten to 3rd down yet, but we will have a plan. Also, before I go on to the next one, can you imagine let's say something crazy. We'll keep it with football. I want y'all to tell me. Can y'all imagine Lawrence Taylor getting traded within your division? Ten days before your game against Lawrence Taylor or Lawrence Taylor's new team. Can you imagine at the beginning of the week, the work week, going, yeah, we'll get to it. Lawrence Taylor. Could you imagine Reggie White? Yeah, we'll get to it. Dan Campbell essentially said, we'll get to it. We're not worried. Why? Because just like I said, we've had the ability to face off against Micah Parsons multiple times in recent years. And the Detroit Lions and Penei Sewell are not afraid. All right, let me get to some of your comments because y'all are going off today. What up, Doe Tactical Sport? Grant is special teams captain. Okay, so Anzo is the defensive captain. Grant is the special teams captain. Let's see. We got some more Davenport. Let's see. We cut Ahmed Hassanin because it will allow him to come back faster. That's why they gave him the injury settlement. He got the injury settlement, so he has to sit out the length of the injury settlement and then 3 weeks extra before he can come back to the Detroit Lions. Now, the reason that they did that was because it looks like in the time of the injury settlement, however many weeks it is, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever, he will be healthy enough to come back and play. Right? So if they had put him on the PUP, then it would have been some other stuff that they would have had to do. So they gave him the injury settlement. He's going to be paid. He was paid for the games that he's projected to miss. It might just be 2 or 3 games, right? And then 3 weeks later, he will be able to come back to the Detroit Lions and immediately start playing. So that's why they cut him. If Davenport plays all year, everyone will be surprised, including Davenport, since it's literally never happened in his first 7 years. Facts. They all suck. The Lions will start 6-0. I don't know if the Lions are starting 6-0. It would be great. If the Lions manage to start 6-0, I think we got the Chiefs in week 6. So we got the Chiefs or the the Bengals, right? So we will have beat Lamar and Joe Burr. We expect them to beat the teams in the division, so that's not like an accomplishment. But if they start 6-0, bro, I mean they're winning the Super Bowl. How else would you couch it? The experts think you have to be the most athletic quarterback. You don't have to be, no. It's just another tool in your toolbox. Said, I believe the Lions didn't want to use up their limited pup designated to return slots. So there's a handshake deal in place for Hassanin to resign once he's healthy. What up, though, Big T? The O-line shuffling makes me a little nervous, but we still got Decker and Sewell at the tackle spots. Since I'm not an expert on football, all I know is that I think the Bears are who we think they are. Just don't let them off the hook. Brad's getting too comfortable, not to take away from his scouting. He's a very good scout, but come on, Davenport, not reliable. That's the issue I have with Brad, is the relying on people like Davenport, relying on people like Emmanuel Mosley, relying on people like Ennis Rakestraw, just the reliance on people who have an extensive injury history, not addressing the fact that they have that extensive injury history, not willing to budge on the fact that they have that extended injury history. Now, here's the thing that I will say. Brad Holmes showed the ability to understand that Hendon Hooker and Broderick Martin were not good picks. And it's not because of whatever, it's because they didn't pan out. If you remember, Brad Holmes gave James Mitchell, a 5th-round tight end, all the chances in the world. He had so much patience with that man. He was on the team for like 4 years. Never did anything. Broderick Martin, 3rd-round pick. Hendon Hooker, 3rd-round pick. You would think that they would get more leeway and more rope, but Brad Holmes said, no, I'm sorry. You're not working out. Goodbye. So because he had the ability to understand that, just that piece, makes me believe. And I don't want to see if this happens, because I want Marcus Davenport. Okay. And y'all can tell me if you agree. I want Marcus Davenport to play the entire season. As I said, give me 17 games. If Marcus Davenport goes down early in the season and he's lost for the season, I would think that Brad Holmes' ability to learn and understand that he's not perfect, and he, just like they said, well, we don't have a lot of room for project players anymore. Now, did he close the door on project players permanently forever? No. He said we don't have a whole lot of room for them. But every situation depends on the situation. Every player is different. Every player's situation is different. Okay, cool. Now, because of this ability to understand that sometimes things are not correct that you think are correct, I would say Davenport, early season injury, season-ending injury, or not even season-ending, just a really long time. Multiple weeks, 5, 6, 7 weeks. Has to go on injured reserve with the designation to return. If that happens, I would hope, and I have a little sliver of hope to believe that the injury experiment is over. That's just my thought process with understanding. Speaking of Hendon Hooker, did y'all see Hendon Hooker up there in Carolina lying through his teeth? Lying through his teeth. He was lying so hard that he didn't believe what he was saying. Shout out Syndicate. Shout out Lion Syndicate. He put out a tweet basically retweeting or tweeting out what Hendon Hooker had said, his little press conference snippet. And I looked at that thing and I said, he doesn't even believe his own fake outrage. Hendon Hooker was up there. Yo, it's nice to be in a place where I'm wanted. A place where they want to develop me and they just want me to grow. Like they're gonna give me an opportunity. I got a real close bond with the coach, going back to the draft process. And we were just chopping up on that. Like, brother, you had opportunity after opportunity after opportunity in Detroit. Put on your tape. You played like 2 cans of ass. It stinks. It stinks. It smells like 2 cans of ass. Okay? That's what you were playing like. Hashtag if you know, use the hashtag. And for you to be sitting up here, Hendon Hooker, lying through your teeth. When Hendon Hooker was drafted, everybody that wasn't a golf fan at the time was a Hendon Hooker gobbler immediately. There were people in his corner until he got cut. Ceremoniously, not unceremoniously. Ceremoniously, he deserved to get cut. And I told y'all all preseason, he was looking shaky, baby. But they kept giving him opportunities, and they kept giving him opportunities. What he was really saying is, it's nice to be in a place where I'm not going to have to compete with nobody. They was bringing in Nate Sudfeld and Kyle Allen, and they was bringing in all these people, and they made me compete. They made me compete in the football. I don't want to compete. I just want to be on a roster. I just want to be the backup. Come on, bro. Come on, Hendon. Nobody. All right. Let's see. It says, I'm hoping if or when Davenport gets hurt, it's not season ending and he's back for the playoffs. I would love for Davenport to play a whole season. I'm not putting any money on it, nor would I be willing to bet the season on it if I were Brad. Facts. This is the problem, betting the season on it. We didn't want him or want to develop him. What? Mike Fisher. Facts. If a player is a project, then it takes a few years for them to become what they could be, and they are able to go someplace else after putting all the work and effort into them. Maybe I am wrong. Maybe. There were Lions fans that wanted Hooker to replace Goff immediately when he came off the IR during his rookie season. It was ridiculous. Right. Okay. But he wasn't wanted. Has Broderick the Bus Martin spoken out yet? No, I don't think Broderick would speak out. I was surprised that Hendon spoke out. Like I said, it was just fake outrage. If y'all haven't seen the clip, when you watch the clip, he was like, he was trying his hardest. It's nice to be somewhere where I'm wanted. It was like, what are you doing, bro? What are you doing? Were you not wanted in Detroit? All right. So let's look at some of what these national media people are saying about Micah Parsons going to the Cowboys. I mean, not the Green Bay Packers. Stephen A. Smith on First Take. Smith was unequivocal in his criticism of Jerry Jones, framing the trade as a personal failure rather than a football decision. Quote, this is a disaster. This is a disaster for Jerry Jones. This is a disaster for Jerry Jones. This is a bad situation. I think this is something that is going to taint whatever legacy he hoped to have, because this is not a football decision. He can slice it any way he wants to. Micah Parsons is a superstar caliber player in the National Football League. You traded him for 2 late first-round picks. Scope, a national perspective, focus on the legacy of the Cowboys ownership and the perceived poor return for a generational talent. Says nothing about the Green Bay Packers. All right, Cam Newton, the former NFL MVP, offered a more nuanced take, arguing that the Packers were still not the best team in the division, while also defending the logic behind the Cowboys' move. Quote, I don't even think they are the best team in their division. They're not better than Detroit. I'm not looking at Green Bay as a threat. On the Cowboys side, he noted, but for the betterment of the locker room, you have an opportunity to get 3 potential players for future situations. That is undoubtedly something that you will want to say as a decision maker. And that's another one that I want to touch on. What happens if Micah Parsons and the Green Bay Packers get swept by the Detroit Lions just as they did last year? I don't think they're going to be 1-5 in the division. I think they'll beat the Bears twice. They might even beat the Minnesota Vikings twice. But if they get swept by, I don't think they'll beat the Vikings twice. I don't know. They got a rookie quarterback. It's tough. Okay, if you let Micah Parsons hunt JJ McCarthy, I don't know. It's tough. Okay. But what happens if they get swept by the Detroit Lions and Micah Parsons gets on his podcast and starts talking? Is Matt LaFleur an alpha male? I just want to ask you that question. Is Matt LaFleur an alpha male? Does anybody believe that Matt LaFleur is an alpha male? I don't think anybody believes Matt LaFleur is an alpha male. I'm going somewhere with this one. Okay? I'm going somewhere. Matt LaFleur is not an alpha male. They don't have an owner. Who steps in and reins that in? Who steps in and goes, nah, Micah, we need you to calm down with all that talk on your podcast? Who steps in and says that? Gutenkust? Who's going to listen to a man with the name Gutenkust? He sounds like a breakfast cereal, right? If you want to start your day the right way, get a fresh bowl of Gutenkust. Find it at your local Kroger's or Meijer. Like, what are we talking about? Who steps in and reins in Micah Parsons? Is it going to be a player like Rashawn Gary? Is it going to be someone like Quay Walker? I don't know. Now, I'm not going to say that Micah Parsons has been this huge locker room problem, but I feel like once he got his podcast and he kind of started speaking out about things all the time, it became a distraction in the locker room. Dak Prescott comes on and says he's glad a solution was reached. That's not a ringing endorsement for a player who was your teammate just a few minutes ago and who is undoubtedly, if he continues his career trajectory, is a first ballot Hall of Famer, right? That is not a ringing endorsement for him in that locker room. Your quarterback, who is the CEO, who is the president of the locker room, came out and said he's glad a solution was reached. Where I'm going with this is the angle that the Green Bay Packers may implode. This move, now it has to come with losing. Okay, I don't think that Micah Parsons is going to be saying anything if they come out and they're winning, right? If they come out and they win 12, 13 games again and they go to the playoffs and they win a playoff game, right? Has Micah Parsons won a playoff game? I know Dak Prescott has like one playoff win or something like that. It's crazy. Right? So if they go to a playoff game and they win one, then I don't think that Micah Parsons will be saying anything. But if they underachieve, if Jordan Love does the Jordan Love thing and just starts throwing a bunch of picks and making really bad decisions and trying to fit balls into triple and quadruple coverage, right? If Micah Parsons and the defense set up the offense to win a game and Jordan Love throws a pick six, if these things start happening, who's going to step in and put out the media fire and the media storm that Micah Parsons is going to create? That's my question. All right, let me get to y'all in the comment section. Even those of us that aren't delusional Hendon Hooker stands wanted him to at least beat out Kyle Allen for the backup QB spot. Me, right here. I wanted that to happen, but we didn't want him. He wasn't wanted here. No, he wasn't. he wasn't wanted. Tactical Sports says there's people that thought that Green Bay were third in the NFC North and that Micah moves them up to first. I'm not buying it. The issue with Green Bay wasn't the pass rush. Facts. Big facts. Kenny Clark called his trade to the Dallas Cowboys, a blessing. I don't know what kind of blessing he's talking about, but if you leave Green Bay and go to Dallas and call that a blessing, maybe it was a shot at Jordan Love. I don't know. The problem with Green Bay wasn't inconsistent play from the QB, and Micah doesn't solve that. I think you mean it was inconsistent play, right? Parsons finally figured out what most of us have known for many years, that the Cowboys aren't winning anything while Jerry Jones is running the team. So while Jones is still alive, basically. Facts. Okay. Lion King says, realistically, with 13 plus wins, we pick like 30-ish. Can we find a superhero at 30th pick? Our picks won't crash. PS. You can, I mean, Lamar Jackson was like pick 32, but you know, a German breakfast cereal at that. Guten Kuss. Sig Heiven den Schweinspanken. Guten Kuss. The problem with Green Bay was, okay, yeah. All right. T. Williams or someone else will have to double team at the A gap. That leaves Davenport. It'll be nice getting guys back mid-season instead of losing them. Aleem Rodriguez and hopefully Hassanin and Pascal. Okay, so Hassanin we don't know anything about. Pascal we know everything about. What's your level of excitement? Okay, Pascal, bro. I don't think Pascal gets another contract from the Detroit Lions. That's just my take. I don't think he does. Okay. Here's something interesting. I hadn't checked in on this man. I thought someone needed to send out a flyer and check in on this man. But I'll tell you what Skip Bayless had to say. People forget Davenport was a first round pick. Nobody forgets Davenport was a first round pick. Lion King, nobody forgets that. Nobody forgets Davenport was a first round pick. Okay. I won't let you forget that Davenport was a first round pick. I won't let you forget that Davenport is an absolute beast. I won't let you forget that Davenport should be getting the type of money that we think that Aiden Hutchinson is going to get. But I also won't let you forget that he doesn't get that type of money and he won't get that type of money. And he's getting $4.75 million in incentives in his contract because it's worth up to $4.75 million because he cannot stay on the field. That's why Davenport is the question mark, not because he's not good at football, not because we need him to develop into something that he hasn't developed into, not because he's been a bust, right? Not because he didn't have his best season didn't come when he played only 11 games and had 9 sacks. None of those things are why Marcus Davenport is a question mark. It is all about his injuries and his injury history. All right. Don't forget about Micah Wingo. Y'all, that kid had a crazy amount of moves and counter moves for a DT coming out of college. A lot of potential there. Micah, we're high on. Josh Pascal, we're not. I'm sorry. Okay. All right. Checking in on Skip Bayless. What did he have to say? All right. So the scope of what Cam Newton said is a national player-centric viewpoint that downplayed the trade's immediate impact on the NFC North hierarchy and analyzed it from a roster construction perspective. All right, Skip Bayless reaction. The outspoken Cowboys fan expressed pure relief at Parsons' departure. Is Skip Bayless just doing a bit? Is Skip Bayless just being Skip Bayless when he says these things? He says, quote, "No more Micah headache, and I say good riddance and good luck, Green Bay." Is this Skip Bayless just being Skip Bayless? Or is this Skip Bayless echoing what Dak Prescott said and echoing what I said about the potential implosion from within inside of the Green Bay locker room? Okay. We know he likes to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. You like to move it, move it. We like to move it, move it. We like to move it when he's in the locker room. If you know what that means, you know what that means. Okay, he starts moving it. Teammates start going to HR. That's all I'm saying. Now, that didn't happen in the NFL. But again, who is in the locker room to police Micah Parsons? Do you think there's a person in that locker room that Micah Parsons is afraid of? Who is he going to be afraid of? Xavier McKinney? Who? I ask you. Please tell me if you know, because I don't. Skip, haven't heard from Skip in a long time. Not that his opinion is worth a damn. Well, he said this on the Skip Bayless show. So, I don't know. It's impossible to know when Skip Bayless is expressing his true opinion because he so rarely does so. That's facts. That's fact. But Skip Bayless during the Undisputed run was so busy calling him 11 from heaven all the time. And now it's good riddance to the Micah Parsons headache. Now, I haven't watched Skip Bayless since Undisputed went off. I've caught him here and there. I've caught a couple episodes of the Skip Bayless show. I don't know how much I watched. But from him to go from calling Micah Parsons 11 from heaven to the Micah Parsons headache, I don't know. That seems a bit disingenuous. That seems a bit like he's being a talking head, like he's trying to get back on TV. Michael Parsons needs a bacchiotomy. Aha, thank you, Detroit fan man. Okay, because I meant to say this earlier, but I got a little bit sidetracked when I was talking about Dan Campbell being pretty much unworried about Michael Parsons. Michael, we knew we could get a lot of assets for Michael in a trade. And I'd do you one better. Those 3 or 4 fourth rounders that we got could be Michael Parsons. Right. They could be. We could get 3 or 4 Pro Bowl level players. Or we could have just kept Michael Parsons. Hey everybody, it's Jerry Jones here. All right. Okay. If anybody cared, the Lions hosted cornerback Trey Avery for a visit today. Who? Who? Who's Trey Avery, bro? Like, okay. They didn't host Big Z for a visit today, did they? Let me know when they do that. All right. Here we go. Per Adam Schefter, Packers linebacker. This is the linebacker, baby. The Packers linebacker. That old Micah Parsons right there. That linebacker's got that, boy. I tell you what, that thing right there, boy. I tell you, that linebacker. Okay, all right. Packers linebacker Micah Parsons. Okay, because he was like line Micah Parker. All right, Micah Parsons has been dealing with an L4, L5 facet joint sprain in his back, and he may take an epidural injection prior to Sunday's game versus the Lions if needed to help him play, per sources. So even if he plays against the Detroit Lions on Sunday, he may not be 100%. And if he's not 100% and you put him in Penei Sewell's crosshairs and Penei winds up cleaning his clock, might be a wrap for old Michael. Michael might need to go sit out the rest of the game. And Michael might be on the pitch count. He hasn't practiced in training camp. He might get an epidural shot to help him play. I don't think if he plays, he will be featured for the Green Bay Packers. I believe that'll be game number 2 in Detroit. Game number 1, if this man needs to get a shot, an epidural, if y'all aren't familiar with what an epidural is, if your wife has, like, if you got a wife and she's giving birth to your children, she might have got an epidural shot. Okay, that's the level of painkiller we're talking about here. Okay, if he needs that to play, I don't know if I want to play on a back that's that messed up. So in the long run, do you play week 1 if you need an epidural to just not feel the pain? Could it get worse? Probably. If it's a sprained back, it could get worse. Okay. I don't know if he plays. If I'm being honest with you, I don't know if he plays. All right. Motown Mike, please come and tell us what to talk about. I'd like to hear it. What do you want to talk about, Mike? You want to talk about Trey Avery? You want to talk about Trey Avery? Mike? Come on, bro. we come into the show 50 minutes into the show talking about why are we talking about Micah Parsons? Brother. Because we talking. That's what we do. It's literally a talk show. Come on, dog. All right. That recently, I stopped watching Skip back when he was claiming Tebow was an elite quarterback. That's when I was sure he was just saying whatever would get his name in the most people's mouths. So, if we're being honest, I didn't really watch Cold Pizza too much. I didn't really watch First Take all that much. I've never been a real like heavy First Take watcher. So ESPN for me has generally been either the sports that are on there, 30 for 30, or Sports Center. I've never been a huge consumer of their content. Especially when they move to YouTube and putting all the, I very rarely tune into what ESPN is saying. So, Lion King says, I changed my pick back to Detroit versus Green Bay. Angry, salty lion is dangerous. Did you wait? Did you pick Green Bay? Come on now. The Cowboys won't be serious until they, one, replace Dakota Rain Prescott, two, get rid of Jerry Jones. Well, I think Dakota Rain will get replaced before Jerry Jones. Well, Jerry Jones, he's okay. I don't want to talk about it, but we know how Jerry Jones is going to leave the organization. It's going to be in a box. I'm just saying. Oh, damn. An epidural injection, as someone with a few decades of back pain, back issues are usually the beginning of the end. Facts. All right. Lion King says, Lions a good pick for elimination pool. We too strong roster-wise. Oh, speaking of pools and stuff, I'm hard at work on the fantasy football app. I've identified the issues with it, now trying to fix it. It has about 35 features. So I'm trying to work through fixing them because I'm trying to give y'all a very robust. I've got podcasts coming in via an RSS feed, so y'all can get the top fantasy football podcasts and y'all can listen to that stuff. It's got all types of league creation, league rules, AI draft, what do you call it? Draft strategies, AI roster optimization. Like, it's got a bunch of stuff. So I'm trying to put it all together and I'm trying to get ready before week 1. I know people have done their drafts, but I'm pretty sure there'll be some late stragglers in. So yeah, I will have that available for testing hopefully very soon. I've stopped some other projects that I've been working on just so I could try to focus on that and get that done before the season starts. So if y'all want to jump in and test it out, like I said, hopefully it will be available very, very soon. All right. In my experience, an epidural can help back pain for a few months, maybe 2 years, or it can not help at all. Well, hopefully it doesn't help at all. We're talking about Micah because 1, he's a Packer. 2, it's game week against the Packers. Right, Tactical? He's a Packer. Damn it. We don't talk about the Packers around here. We don't talk about the Packers when we're about to play them. Oh, wait. Oh, my goodness. Anakin Skyogre, what up, though? We were never going to get Micah plus the guys injured. Never know. Everybody said we were never going to get Myles Garrett. And how'd that work out, Anakin? Huh? We didn't get him. Walter football is gold standard in weekly picks. All right. Cool. All right. Y'all know what time it is. You know what we do on this show, boy. We flow, boy. But before we flow, boy, we check up on your blood flow, boy. All right. Mailbag. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they reading you? Mailbag. Mailbag. Get your mailbag questions in. Get them in. Bask in it. All right. Yeah, next visit needs to be Big Z, right? Who is this? Hold on. What's this dude's name? Trey Wingo? No. Trey Avery. The funny thing is Anakin doesn't know who I am. I'm not gonna tell him. Not gonna tell him. Why didn't Pascal get put on the pup list? What list did he get put on? I don't know. Did he get put on any list? I mean, listen. I'm trying to be sensitive because it's a non-football illness list, which means it probably has to do with the cancer. So I'm trying to be sensitive because obviously, cancer is a heinous thing, and a lot of people's lives have been touched by cancer. My mom died when I was very young of breast cancer, so on and so forth. Cancer aside, Josh Pascal has too many physical injuries. And while he's touted as being this great run stuffer, this great edge setter, go back and watch the Buffalo Bills game in which he missed tackle after tackle after tackle. Josh Pascal, maybe as a rotational piece, is okay, but I don't believe that Josh Pascal comes back to the Detroit Lions. His contract is up this year. I don't think he should be getting another one. Thank you for your services. Goodbye. All right. Who you got Sunday versus Green Bay? Of course I got the Lions. What you mean? What do you mean? I think the only game I'm not gonna 100% pick the Lions is Baltimore. that Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. I'm sorry, that's just unfair. That's an unfair combination. Because I already know I'm not picking, but everything else I think is up in the air. As I said earlier in the offseason, I can see a path to them going 15-2 again. I don't think they're going to go 15-2 again. Don't get me wrong, but I can see a path, and the path is only losing to Baltimore and Philly because they're constructed very similarly, but this new look defense that the Detroit Lions has may be able to stop mobile quarterbacks. So if they're able to stop mobile quarterbacks, the possibilities are endless. All right. Mailbag, is it cool that we talk about players from teams that we faced that week? Yes. Yes, Tactical. I think that's cool. I think it's okay to talk about players that we face throughout the season. Throughout this season. I mean, it doesn't even have to be the week. I just talked about Lamar Jackson. Is that okay? Can I mention the name of Lamar Jackson before week 3? I would like to think I could. Listen, I think, and this is a novel idea, and I'm pretty sure that dude's not watching anymore because he shouldn't be. I think that it's okay for us to talk about all NFL players because we're talking about the NFL. The Detroit Lions are a team that reside in the broader league called the NFL. And I think that at any point in time, if we want to talk about someone that plays in the NFL, like Jamar Chase, we want to talk about Jamar Chase. Oh, but we're going to be playing Jamar Chase not too long from now, right? Is there anybody? People that we're not going to play this season. We're not going to play CJ Stroud. If we want to talk about CJ Stroud, it should be okay, right? What do you guys think? Should it be okay to talk about CJ Stroud or any other person in the league in the NFL that we want to talk about during our show? Yeah, I think so. Okay, cool. All right. Mailbag. Should we actually be talking about Caleb this week? I mean, we could. You know, we could wish Caleb to lose against the Minnesota Vikings because we hope he comes in 0-1 and then leaves out of Detroit 0-2. And, Osama bin Johnson, never has any success in the NFL. We could talk about all those things. Shout out to Osama, though, right? And I think that I'll enjoy beating Matt LaFleur twice a year. And now you got to deal with Micah. That Eagles game is tricky. Facts. Big facts. Eagles on the road will be tough. Facts. Big facts. We could drop one to Minnesota or Chicago later. Don't say Chicago. I don't want to hear about that because that's Osama over there. Okay? That's the terrorist over there. I don't want to hear about that. Now if you said we could split with Green Bay, I'd listen. I want to hear nothing about Chicago. I got us going 12-5 or 13-4. I'm leaving 12-5 to the 89%. I think I had us 13-4. I think I did. I think I got 13-4, 14-3. But 12-5 is reasonable. And I think it would still win the division. The Lions' road schedule is brutal to a degree I can't recall seeing for any team ever. Going 15-2 again seems unlikely. Oh, I don't think they'll go 15-2. I don't think they will. No. I'm just saying there's a path. There's a path. It's not the Booner path. There's a path. Mailbag. Well, I'm sure I don't say that name. Is totally out of the question. He's totally out of the question for me. See, you tried to sneak it in there. I don't say that name. His name is LeBum. Okay, that's as close as I'm getting to saying that one. That's Osama. Nah, that's Voldemort over there in Chicago. Well, see, Voldemort doesn't work. Osama bin Johnson works perfectly. Okay, it works perfectly. Some people call him Benedict Johnson. I call him Osama bin. You know what I mean? Osama bin Johnson. Let's see. What else we got? Let's get a couple more mailbags in, a couple more comments in. Then I got to put my nose back to the grindstone. Mailbag, what about college football players? Hey, let's talk about Bryce Underwood. He looked good, right? Talk about apparently Arch Manning looked like trash, but it's game number one. Am I mistaken, or is the Oh Hell No State's quarterback last name Saiyan? Because that sucks. You can't have a cool name like that. Like, if your nickname is not Super Saiyan, I don't know what to do with you. If I was I am a football player, right? If I was going to the league or anything of that nature, and my last name was Saiyan, and my parents didn't change my first name to Super, we'd have a problem. We would have a problem. Okay, I was just trying to get the formula right. No, it's all good. Bro, the fans that come in and act like we're never supposed to ever give credit to any other team, and you're still a Lions fan at the end of the day, it's wild to me. It is wild to me. If you are a Lions fan and you are 10 years old, you've still seen some lean years. You're 10 and you've seen some lean years. If you're 40 plus, you done seen all the lean years. What are you talking about? And to come in and be like, the Lions, yeah, why are we talking about a Packer? Let me tell you what, boy. We don't need to be out here talking about no Packers. Packers ain't good for nothing but pack and cheese. We're the Detroit Lions. We are 57-time division champs, and we've won 35 Super Bowls, and we've been to 56 of them. There's not a Super Bowl in the world that you could say the Detroit Lions didn't have something to do with. That's what I'm talking about. I don't give a piss about nothing but the pride. Yeehaw! I had to do the Southern accent because you're not from Detroit. If you have that kind of mindset about the Detroit Lions. But if we got no more mailbags, we will go ahead and toodaloo. So once again, I appreciate everybody for coming through for conversation, a drink and conversation, because I did have a drink today in my cup. Once again, the Motor City Cats are indeed back at it. We came to give you also, since you guys are here from LNU, do me a favor. If you are not subscribed to the Motor City Cats podcast, please do me a favor. As soon as this is over, jump over to Motor City Cats on YouTube. It's Motor City Cats. It's spelled just the way everything is supposed to be. Motor is spelled the way motor is supposed to be. City is spelled the way city is supposed to be. Cats is spelled the way cats is supposed to be. There ain't no K's in there. None of it. Okay? If you are not subscribed to Motor City Cats, because we are racing back to 1,000. Okay? I made some poor decisions. I joined some places I shouldn't join, and I had to start back from scratch at the end of the season. Okay? And starting back from scratch, I'm still at 850. I'm 150 away from 1,000, so it's a race back to 1,000. Please consider going over to Motor City Cats right now, hitting that subscribe button. It's 100 people up in here in the LNU stream. If everybody that's in here goes over there and subscribes, I know we got people that are already subscribed. So let me just say, 85 of y'all ain't subscribed. So go on over there, get me them 85 subscribers right now, please. Motor City Cats on YouTube. All right. Once again, the Motor City Cats are indeed back at it. Hold on. Let me see. Hold on. I don't give a piss about nothing but the pride. Just saying. New saying. That's not me. That's was that Drewski? No. Okay. So Drewski said, I don't get pissed about nothing but the tide. And then I think it was the heavies that said, I don't get pissed about nothing but the pride. But yes. So I don't want to take credit for it, but it is funny. All right. Once again, the Motor City Cats are indeed back at it. We came to give you stats, none of that static. Whatever you do, make sure you keep your Lions news pragmatic, and we shall see you tomorrow. Peace.